The Fremont County Library Board is embroiled in an ideological conflict between socially conservative and ultra-conservative members. The president of the Cheyenne Tennis Association has resigned over the participation of a transgender athlete in this weekend's Governor's Cup tournament. And farmers insist that dairy is the only real milk. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily. Even in Wyoming, public libraries are becoming ideological battlegrounds. In an email chain between members of the Fremont County Library Board, members discussed how to keep, quote, ultra-conservative activist people off the board. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland said Fremont County Library System Director Anita Marple urged her library board chairwoman, social conservative Perry Cook, to reapply for the position even after the filing deadline had passed.
Marple did not want the ultra-conservative activist people on the library board and persuaded the chair to reapply. However, in a later email, Marple said she would have been equally concerned by ultra-progressive activists.
Marple emphasized to library staff in her email that they shouldn't have a political agenda in their work and should treat every library patron with respect. And Fremont County Attorney Patrick LeBrun noted that no violation of law occurred by letting Cook reapply past the filing deadline. A Colorado transgender tennis player competing in the women's division of this weekend's Wyoming Governor's Cup has prompted the resignation of the Cheyenne Tennis Association board president. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson said Jackie Fulkrod, the president of the Cheyenne Tennis Association board, felt that having a transgender athlete compete in the women's draw was against her personal integrity. 27-year-old Brooklyn Ross, who transitioned 6 years ago and just finished up her junior tennis season playing at an NCAA Division II college in Texas, told Cowboy State Daily on Wednesday that there's never been any controversy or opposition to her playing in tournaments before. Meanwhile, State Representative Ben Hornock from Cheyenne wrote a guest column for Cowboy State Daily stating Wyoming needs to protect women's sports and should not allow a, quote, 6-foot, 27-year-old biological male, end quote, to play in the women's open division just because, quote, he claims to be a real-life woman. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints continues to petition Wyoming courts to help with its effort to build a temple in Cody. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson reports that late last week, the church filed its second petition in as many weeks, challenging the Cody Planning and Zoning Board for not approving its plan to build a 101-foot-tall temple.
The new court petition that was filed late last week is basically challenging the board's decision on the conditional use permit and the decision that the board made on June 27th to not move forward with that conditional use permit. Although the board is very split, very little has passed through, so the church is obviously feeling the pressure there.
City code only permits a structure 30 feet high to be built in the rural residential zone it would be in, but the church and city planner have argued that the temple's 77-foot steeple should not count toward the maximum building height as part of the building's roof. Without the steeple, it's less than 30 feet. Officials with the Wyoming Game and Fish Department say potential cuts to teaching hunter education in public schools would deprive Wyoming kids of valuable life skills. The U.S. Department of Education is arguing that cutting money for school programs that allegedly provide, quote, dangerous weapon training, end quote, would help create a safer and more positive environment in schools. But it's still unclear how or even if Wyoming will be affected by cutting money for school programs that involve hunting, archery, and the like, which has been proposed by President Joe Biden's administration. Game and Fish spokeswoman Brenna Ball told Cowboy State Daily that the agency will continue to support and advocate wholeheartedly for hunter education and archery in the schools. And farmers are calling on the Food and Drug Administration once again to not allow almond and other nut milk products to be labeled milk because they say there are no teats on almonds, soybeans, and other plant-based beverages. Cowboy State Daily's John Thompson reports that according to a survey used by the FDA, 83 million Americans are confused or have been misled about whether dairy alternatives contain milk.
The dairy industry people would prefer that they use the term almond juice or something else because they say milk is their word and it's has a wholesome connotation, and it's helping the nut producers market to people who might not buy a milk product.
And that's today's news. You can read about all of these stories and more on CowboyStateDaily.com, Wyoming's largest and most read news source. Sign up today for our free daily newsletter and get unlimited access to unrivaled coverage of what's going on in the Cowboy State. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.